10 years ago, I saw a picture of what I thought was the perfect camel hair coat. It was so gorgeous and it was $500 and I could not afford it. So I decided that I was going to look for one secondhand. And I thought, how hard could it be? The perfect coat is going to have to be out there somewhere. I love buying coats secondhand. Spent the next year obsessively searching online for something close to that in my price range. And eventually I found this one. It came from Goodwill.com and it came from the San Francisco Goodwill, which somehow made it seem really cool. And it used to have a label in it. It was made special for some department store out there. The label has fallen out. Even when I got it, it was pretty worn in, but I love the 100% camel hair fabric. But you can see that the sleeves were worn and the pockets were worn and the lining has completely started to rip, and it was always a little bit too baggy. Even when I tied it, it felt just a little too big, like here, and then it started to rip underneath here. So I think I had gotten it when it was very well worn already, but it is a beautiful quality, and I just saved it to show you. Well, I've saved it all these years because I was one of these days I'm going to make pillow covers out of the extra fabric. Although now that I'm looking at it, I almost wonder if I cleaned it up a little bit. It's still a beautiful fabric. It's a very well-made garment. But when I bought it, my mistake was hoping to find something secondhand that I could just wear immediately, which I did, except it didn't fit quite right, and I should have spent some money to get it tailored, but I didn't. So I eventually, I got tired of wearing it, especially because the lining was just ripping, and you can see even the actual fabric itself. So that was my first foray into trying to find the perfect camel coat. This one was probably my first secondhand coat purchase. I got it at my local Goodwill over 10 years ago. It's an ILGWU. It's beautifully sewn. It's got this beautiful boucle wool. I haven't worn it in a while. I've been saving it maybe for my daughters, or maybe I'll start wearing it again. It is held up so beautifully, even the lining. Once you start shopping secondhand, your taste can really get very elevated and you will start developing a very expensive taste. So I had developed an expensive taste from this coat, which is just so beautifully constructed. And then this coat, which even though it's really was on its last legs, is so beautiful. After that, I started investigating, well, how much, I'd really like to get a coat that was made in the USA, that was made to last for ages. And I was looking and looking and looking, and I stumbled across the Coat Check Room website. There's this lovely woman she's a designer out of Chicago, and she sources all of her material from US mills and designs and sews her coats right in the city, I believe. I signed up to win a gift card, and I actually won. I had to buy a coat then, and I ended up buying her Southport coat in this. It's a wool cashmere fabric from, I believe, American Woolen Mills out in, I want to say, Connecticut. It's beautifully designed and made by Liz right in Chicago, and with my card discount, I think it came to around $300 and some odd. A good coat is really an investment, and I was really excited about this. It was like my first real true investment coat. This has it just beautifully lined with this stripe material, and since it's new, it was new I think I've had it for 4 years now, so the lining has held up beautifully, the fabric has held up beautifully, it fits beautifully. So it has this little magnetic snap here just to kind of keep it closed, and then if you wanted, you could belt it with a sack, pockets and these cuff sleeves, and it's just cut perfectly. I think of it as my Home Alone coat. It makes me think of Kevin's mom in Home Alone. She's got that big camel coat in the first movie. The one thing that wasn't perfect about it for me was I was really attached to this lighter color, and as you can see, it's a little darker, but I'm really proud that it's I know who made my coat. I know who designed it. It was made in the US, and I'm supporting a small maker, and I love all those things, and it's holding up just beautifully. $300 some odd. The cost per wear at this point has to be really teeny, because like I think this is my 4th winter using it, and it's very warm. Would I be able to buy one of these new? Again, last time I checked on her website, I think the cost is now like $1,000 for a coat like this, and I'm sure, it's not like it's a huge markup. It's just everything is so expensive. So hopefully someday I would be able to buy a new coat like this if I saved up. Like I've said in some recent videos, I've been thinking more and more about buying much less, but buying really, really, really high quality. And this coat would definitely fall into that category. Then this summer I was at my favorite charity shop, and I found this gem. Now I believe this is a man's coat, and it's a little different from the robe look coat that I had thought I wanted. And you all tell me, my husband anyway, he thinks that this structured style actually suits me better, and I think he might be right. You all tell me. I thought I was a robe coat person, but now that I've had these two, I'm not so sure. I might like this one better. It is gorgeous. It's made of 100% camel hair. It's really well made. The problem is that it's a little large. So it's a little large in the shoulders. It's a little large in the sleeves. Would have to get it tailored for like a perfect fit, and I haven't decided if I'm going to do that yet or not. Show you the inside here. It says Gobion camel hair. The lining is in good shape, but I think it's a very old coat because a few times I've worn it, the lining has started to fray. It's so well made that they've even like got this extra room in the lining, and it's sewed here, but then there's like extra fabric, just so you have more give, I guess. So I don't know who the maker was. It says Apacuna, contains no vicuña, tailored for elegance. Gobion camel's hair, I guess that's the brand, but those are the only labels in there. The buttons have like another button sewn on the opposite side, like to reinforce it. So it's just a really strong, well-made coat. So this is where I am at 10 years on. I realize that I want to get this exactly right, and I want something that fits perfectly and that suits me perfectly, and that's why it's so hard to find the perfect camel coat. And I've come to the conclusion that there's 2 ways to do it. You can either buy something very well made, new, that would fit you perfectly and last a really long time because it's brand new, like my coat checkroom coat. Or you can buy something secondhand and be prepared to spend some money on tailoring and alterations and repairs to make it the perfect thing. Like this coat, for example, strengthening the lining, shortening the sleeves, tailoring it through the body so it's less boxy. I have no idea how much that would cost. I tend to shy away from tailoring, but it's something that I really am going to start looking into. When you shop secondhand, I think that you develop really expensive taste because there are so many beautifully made garments that you can find secondhand. Even today, even when our secondhand markets are getting really diluted with all the fast fashion, you can still find these gorgeous ILGWU items, and the craftsmanship and quality, you just fall in love with it, and then nothing else is ever as good ever again. I don't think I've found my perfect camel hair coat yet, but I think that this journey has taught me a lot more about what I'm looking for, plus it's been really fun. And I'm curious, what do you do when you're shopping? Would you rather buy save maybe, and buy one really expensive thing that's going to last you a really long time and ultimately really be more economical because the cost per wear is going to be so low because you're going to get so much good use out of it? Or do you prefer to shop secondhand and try to get yesterday's gorgeous, beautifully well-made, handcrafted items at more affordable prices. Let me know in the comments what kind of coat you're looking for, what you think about my camel coats, more tailored, more of a wrap style. Would you just forget that altogether and go with the boucle? And something else I've noticed is the more you look for really well-made things, the more your standards change, and you start to notice all kinds of things you didn't notice before, like buttonholes, fabric weight, stitching and seams and linings. And you start to become really specific about what it is that you want, and kind of your whole mentality about clothes starts to change, especially when you learn about some of the makers that make these beautiful things, like Liz over at Coat Check Room, or other makers that I have talked about here recently. It's just, I'm currently in love with the idea that I could know who made the clothes for me. That's so cool. But the more specific you get, that makes the quest, harder and potentially more expensive, at least up front. I have an online thrifted checklist. So if you're thrifting online, it's a checklist of things to look for to help you find the best things online. And I also have a real life checklist as well. I will link those down below. They're handy to keep on your phone when you're shopping, just to remind yourself what to look for when you're out at the shops or scrolling on your phone. So I hope that you check those out down below. Let me know in the comments what you thought of this video. I would love to hear about your quest for the perfect coat, and I will see you all again next week. Take care. Bye for now.